Okay, today I'm talking to a dear friend, Natasha Foltanova, who I have known for over 20 years. And Natasha, I know for the last 15 years, you have been working in the field of household products, introducing more planet-friendly, nature-friendly products to Czech households, not only Czech, European households. Your message has been, there's always an alternative. What does that mean to you?
Well, what I've been trying to achieve is to make everybody realize that basically it's your choice or our choice and our responsibility what we bring into our homes, and the total impact of each and every product that we use. And unless we start looking into each and every product, that we are not going to make any change.
You've been in this business for many years. You've done more for ecological household products probably than anyone in the Czech Republic. Has attitude of society changed in this time? Have you witnessed a change over the last 15 years?
Definitely, yes. When I was starting, it was really like a very, I would say the product were fringe products. It was like a little small market niche, and the customer base was very different than it is now. I have witnessed over the 15 years the new generation of customers coming. Like these are the kids of the mothers who were our first customers a long time ago, and now their daughters, sometimes even sons, are starting their own households, and they just want to live differently, and then because like at the beginning, the 15 years ago, it was like we had to make changes. We had to make conscious changes. We had to change the way that we are, like what we are buying, how we are using the products. Now the kids, they already know. They don't need to make like a change, and so they just continue living as they have seen, mostly at home.
Do you find you're doing less educating than before? Is that what you're saying? That they are coming in already interested, already knowing what they want in the types of products that you're providing?
Some people already know. Some people even bring us ideas. They know very well what they want, and they're very strict about certain products, their origins, the ingredients that we are using. On the other hand, there's still like a huge number of people. I mean, basically the huge majority of the market that is still unaware, and they don't know, and that's the biggest obstacle, because people sometimes they feel that they want to change something, but they don't know how to start. They don't know what to do, what to buy. They think it's difficult. Sometimes think it's expensive. So yes, definitely education is and will probably always be a big part of what we do.
Okay. Coming back to this idea of being an innovator and pioneer, that often means that you're going against the grain or fighting an uphill battle. Has that been your experience?
Well, especially at the beginning, because like nobody really believed that that type of product could become a market, or that like such a company would have a chance to survive. I know at the beginning, like I've had a lot of discussions with various people, and they said, well, they were just like smiling, and it said, but nobody really believed that that would make into like a feasible company.
You talk about a new story, and you've decided to show people the way to a new story through a new company, TERRA GAIA. What can we do every day to make the world the way we want it to be? Can you give us some guidance on what the new story is?
Well, for me, the news story is conscious living, conscious life, conscious decisions, with understanding uh, the consequences of our decisions. Since we are talking about consumer products, our purchase decisions, really we're bringing the attention of people to the simplest everyday decisions of what you buy, what you use in your home, because these are products that you use like every day, all day long, in a bathroom, in a kitchen, and these are products that you literally use every day, and no matter how small the impact might seem, it's multiplied by the frequency of use, and by the pure fact that you have these products in every household and you use them every day. So it's about conscious decisions and conscious changes.
You often say that your mission is to create matter with soul. How is this mission realized in the TERRA GAIA project, and what does it actually mean?
I know it's the matter with soul might sound weird, or some people might just think it's something that it's hard to imagine. But for me, it's just the intention, the purpose, for the whole enterprise, for the whole company. And for me, the distinction is quite simple, because like, if you do what you do in order to make money, you'll never achieve making product with a soul. And however, if you change it, if you just change your perspective and you work in order to be in service, and in our case, in service to the planet, in service to people, to life, then what you are making, ultimately, their product with soul. And so this is something which is, I know it's very intangible, but this is, for me, from my own perspective, and I know it works. That's the whole difference. Doing business for money or doing business as a service. And if you do it well, the money will come ultimately anyway.
I have witnessed that in your products, in your companies, in all of your endeavors, and I do agree that it has worked very well. You also have a lot of experience in blending these values into the way your company operates. What does the new story mean for the business and your partners?
Well, it's again, it's again about the intention, and about the degree or the level of responsibility that you are willing to take. Because, for example, let's say our suppliers, our business partners, I don't want to deal with anybody who I don't know reasonably well enough to be able to say, okay, these people have, you know, they're honest, they're responsible, and they're doing the best they can to serve, also in their way. So I'm really very careful about all our suppliers. I'm like, especially for the products that we are buying. We are buying everything in organic quality. All the plant-based materials we are buying in organic quality, and each and every supplier, we are just trying to choose the best one. And it doesn't mean that we have reached the optimal, the level, but also we are trying to improve. So I'm talking to the people, I'm talking to the suppliers, and just making sure that they have the same intention at heart as we do. And yeah, so I think this is again, this is the responsibility. And I know that this is about trust, and if our customers have trust in us, it means that I need to deliver the best that we can, in order to keep the trust, and not to lose it.
I know you have impacted different communities and different. You talked the other day about how your products are packaged, and I'd like to come back to that a little bit later as we talk about those products and those communities that you have impacted. But coming back to Thera and Gaia, they're sometimes considered the same thing. You put them side by side in the name of the company. How do you explain the relationship between Thera and Gaia?
Well, it's as always, it's very symbolic, and it does mean the same. Although Terra, I see Terra as the body. That's the body of the planet. Whereas Gaia, I see as the soul that makes it alive. It's also the goddess Gaia, and yeah. So they basically it is the same thing, but it's like the body and the soul of the planet.
Speaking now about Thera Gaia's products, news stories are not just products. Where do you see the news story everywhere?
For me, the news story is, as I said, I'm just coming back always, coming back to this phrase like conscious living, and it's like conscious living for me. It means taking responsibility for for everything that you do, and it's about conscious life, and it means seeing what does it mean, like what you buy, how you live, to see the consequences, how do you impact the people around you, the planet, so it's about conscious decisions and taking responsibility.
The range and availability of products for green conscious living or conscious cleaning, laundry, zero waste is already well established in the market today. How are Thera Gaia's products produced differently? How do you find your niche within the market?
The green thing or ecological products, it's a big thing over the past, let's say, maybe even a decade. And some of the companies are doing or making and marketing these products to look good in the eyes of the customers, in the eye of the society, because they have never understood the true meaning. There are definitely companies who are doing it for the same reason as we do. So there's wide range of products that are considered eco-friendly, or there are different labels, but it's always about, again, it's always about the intention. There are big corporations. They're trying to go green because they see that it is definitely the thing of the future, and it's good because they have huge impact. But they are doing definitely their intention is different from ours. Their business is to make money for their shareholders, and it's legitimate. It's okay because they have a huge impact on the society because they're everywhere. We are aiming at the niche, as you've mentioned, as people who are really able to appreciate the way that we work, and even some of the products that are not as, let's say, simple to use. You have to make conscious decisions about, okay, I'm not gonna to, let's say, we have an example of, let's say, baby diapers. It's like my favorite example, because you have to really make a conscious decisions that you don't want to use the disposable diapers, even though they're really simplifying your life, so to say. However, the consequences of using this product, especially this product, are huge. But you might choose not to see it, and you might just choose the easy way, say, I'm too busy to do it otherwise. However, if you make the conscious decision, you just buy a set of textile diapers, meaning that you have to really wash it let's say every 2 days, dry it, taking care of them. However, if you just think consciously about the overall impact, because you're using the diapers, let's say, for 2 years, sometimes longer, so that just multiplies. And it's not only about the environment, it's also about the health, and it's also about the money. But you really have to go deep into thinking and into considering, like, what are you causing by your decisions?
I wanted to ask you more questions about TERRA GAIA's products. Where do you source your ingredients? Where are the products made?
We have a very wide range of products, and some of them we make ourselves. All the laundry, all the cleaning products, the cosmetics. Some of the products they're made. Let's say the cotton products are made in India. We have our own suppliers I have known for years, and we have been working together for a long time. And they're all, working with organic cotton. I've known the companies, even sometimes their families, So as I mentioned before, I've really picked my suppliers very carefully. I want to make sure that they have the company has the same intention as ours. Some materials we just buy from ordinary suppliers. Let's say the raw materials for the cleaners. Let's say they're just ordinary suppliers of materials, but still, they're just local suppliers, and I really make sure that I know every and each company personally.
Do you think you've exhausted all the possibilities, or are there still new things to do?
Well, there are always new things to do. This is not classical saying goes, it's not a destination. This is a journey. There's always something that you can make better. You can make more conscious, more clean, simpler. And it's a very interesting journey, and it's basically a journey of your of your consciousness and of your willingness to ask yourself questions and look for answers. I've like a small example I can use. Let's say like a beeswax. I used to be a big fan of beeswax food wraps, let's say. And then I just realized, I don't want to use a beeswax anymore, because basically I consider, and I know I might just sound radical, but I just consider that a theft. The bees are producing wax for their own use, and we are just taking it in higher and higher quantities. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm just basically looking in ways how to replace, let's say, beeswax with a plant source. And it's not because I'm a vegan. I'm not. But still, I just realized that if we use more and more products with beeswax, it's definitely going to have an impact on the bee population, and I just don't want to cause them more strain and more harm. We've caused bees already a lot of harm as humankind. So I don't want to increase that. And this is like, again, this is a consequence of looking deeper and deeper, because you always, the journey means that you look deeper and deeper into everything, into the sources of where the things that you're using are coming from, but also into where the products are going. Once you use it, what's going to happen with the waste, what's going to happen with the product once it stops, or once once the product gets to the end of the life cycle.
What do you do yourself to live consciously?
Well, if we talk about the household, if you come to my home, I've just realized, I have, let's say, very, very few plastic items at home. I've already replaced whatever I could have replaced with natural materials, and it really makes a big difference. I know that I feel much better around these things. I don't practically use any disposables. I've really in that. I've gone quite far, and so if it comes to household, I think, basically whatever we do as a company, I've always done it because I needed these things for myself. That was the motivation. I've never really offered anything to the clients that I haven't tried before myself. So and again, as I said a short while ago, it's not that it's finished. There are always things that can be improved, but it's a journey into like how far you want to go, how far, how willing are you to to look into the each and every product as a its source and the consequence. I buy very few items that are packaged, but if I have at home anything that I like a packaging, I throw very little. I know even know ways how to reuse the packaging and so on. So again, it's kind of like a way of living. It's not like more than anything else. It's a way of living.
For those of us who are still learning how to do that, can you give us some more guidance?
Well, guidance. It's not as much technical guidance as more about the change must come really from within. The change comes once you realize that no matter how small the change is, it has a huge impact because you do it really every day, or everybody can do it. So it's just about changing your attitude, realizing that, or overcoming, let's say, something that you can call laziness sometimes. I've gave the example with the textile wrappers. Once you realize that what you're using, what you're doing, has a negative impact, you can't really continue. Once you realize that like throwing garbage on a landfill has a negative impact on the planet, you must start avoiding, and consciously avoiding. And it's not like do it and it's either or. It's a journey. It's like incremental changes leading into like a big impact at the end. But you do the changes, like it's and you must just really do it to the extent it's still comfortable for you, because once you unless you're comfortable in doing it every day, and unless you do it really automatically, it doesn't make any sense. You should not force yourself into doing things. But once you realize that it is really important, it doesn't make it hard. Or it makes it really simple for you, because you said, okay, when I go shopping, let's say, I must think upfront that I need to take my shopping bags with me, so that way you don't have to buy, plastic bags every time you go shopping. But it also, like it means that you need to consciously think about, okay, I'm going shopping, I need to take my bags with me, and these little steps lead to, at the end, if you look back, let's say after 2 years, they lead at the end to big changes.
At the beginning, we started off with those small incremental steps that you can take. And so if someone is new and wanting to make a change in their lifestyle, how do you suggest they should start?
Well, again, once you make the decision that you really want to make an impact, I would recommend you start with an sort of like a mental inventory, of what you have, or not even mental, like you go over the items at your home, your cleaners, or your, like small things that you use, your brushes and small things that you use in your household, especially the cosmetics, that you use every day. And then you start looking at one in each item, like one thing after another. And then you try to imagine, what is it made of? Like each product has a list of ingredients, like each product, like cleaners, cosmetics, there's a list of ingredients, so you just go on into the list of ingredients, and nowadays you can Google everything, so you just take a look, and then you start getting idea of what you're using, where are these things coming from, what happens to them once you rinse your laundry and the water goes in the drain, what you're putting on your face, what are these chemicals, what impact do they have, what they're made of. And then, like that's the ingredients, but also you have the packaging, what happens to the plastic bottle, how is it made, and all these things. And I know that, the topic might sound like huge, but you just don't overwhelm yourself. You take one item and you just follow up on that item, and then you use the same tactic on every other item, and then you just start discovering, and then things start repeating, and they start making sense to you. Then you listen. There are a lot of takes, a lot of videos made on these things. So you have to start really educating yourself on, and going deeper and deeper and deeper. Just don't overwhelm yourself, and it doesn't make any sense to start throwing everything out and replacing it. Just do it gradually, the way you feel comfortable with, so that you just don't go crazy, but do it gradually. What really helps is to start also looking at what you eat, because that also goes hand in hand. Like a lot of people are much more careful about what they eat. They just read the labels. They just don't want to eat a lot of artificial, let's say additives. But it's the same thing applies to cosmetics. Same things applies to cleaners. You can look into, let's say you have cotton, you have clothing. Where does the cotton come from? How is it made? What impact of conventional cotton makes on the environment, on people, and so on, so on and so on. The topic is practically never
Endless.
ending. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but
So,
just start gradually, incrementally, because otherwise you would just overwhelm yourself.
so small incremental steps
Exactly. Yeah,
leading to greater impact.
and leading to like a change of your lifestyle. It's basically like, yeah, changing your lifestyle in a sense.
So, Natasha, we've talked about a lot of things today, and you've educated us on quite a lot. But it looks like there are lots of topics here that we can go into more depth, and I hope we can keep being educated on some of these things.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm really looking forward. I know this is, as mentioned, it's a journey. So I would love to, provide guidance on, how to really live your conscious life at home.
Thank you. Until next time.
Thank you.